Time for the first episode of the wonderfully weird world of the interwebs, the show where I talk about weird stuff on the internet. The topic of today's episode of the wonderfully weird world of the interwebs is none other than... For those of you who don't know, which is probably very few of you who are actually watching this video, on the internet, Chuck Norris is portrayed as pretty much this literally invincible guy, and they basically make a ton of jokes about it. And a lot of these jokes are actually pretty good. I'm just going to go ahead and list off some of my personal favorites, such as the boogeyman checks his closet at night for Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris once shot down a plane by pointing his finger and saying bang. When a zombie bites Chuck Norris doesn't turn into a zombie. The zombie turns into Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris once uppercutted a horse. Its descendants were known as giraffes. Chuck Norris for president. Even if he didn't get the most votes, he would still win. And yeah, the jokes are actually pretty good. But it does raise the question, how did Chuck Norris rise to this position? Basically, I have a theory. If you watch top 15 YouTubers, which I kind of feel bad for you if you did because that's my least favorite of my countdowns, I watched The Nostalgia Critic, and one of his reviews I've seen was Sidekicks, and that movie was basically about a kid who constantly daydreams about him, stopping bad guys with none other than Chuck Norris. And then after this movie, maybe some people, after they've seen it, decide to come up with those, say, Chuck Norris jokes. And then the popularity spread to the point of creating, its own website, and practically the entire internet knowing about these jokes. Anyway, to conclude, I think they're pretty good jokes, and it is pretty odd how Chuck Norris rose to this position. Could it have been the movie? Anyway, my job is covering weird things on the internet, and this is one of them. I'm Cardboard Box Productions.